Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I thought I'll talk about accessibility in colleges and universities because I feel like there's a little bit of lack of resources to help people with disabilities. I talked a little bit about this in my last video, but I feel like in this video I'm gonna, you know, get into it a little bit more. As you know, if you've been following my content for a while, the last few years I've been going to college, and the last 2 years I've been going to the university. I only attended 2 semesters, and at my community college it was like 5 years. I think 5 semesters. I think that I took. So I kind of already went to college as someone with a disability. That's why I thought I'll make this video. For people that are not aware how lack of resources they have for students with disability. Don't get me wrong, they do have resources, but I feel like that's not enough to help people with disabilities succeed in college. I mean, they offer here. This is the accommodations that I would get when I was in college. I got extra time on test. I had someone take my notes for me, and that's about it. Like, that's all I needed. But another thing they can give you is like a tape recorder. If you can't take notes, you can check out a tape recorder so you can, record your notes and stuff like that. So basically, all the accommodations you get are, for, to succeed in the classroom. But there are certain disabilities like muscular dystrophy that you need help, like, like using the restroom. And they don't offer like assistance for that. Like if you're like in middle school, high school still and have a disability, you know how they always aids that help you, But in college it's like they don't offer that. I mean, a person can't hold the need to use the restroom all day, One, it's not healthy, and two, why do we have to hold it? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I feel that that's where they lack in resources. It's like, how do you expect a person with disability to keep, you know, coming, going to college if they're not going to offer, someone to help him use the restroom, feed him, or whatever task they need for a class, you know what I mean? So I mean, I was thinking like, why not, I don't know, why not the school, you know found, I don't know, more resources for that. I mean, like, my suggestion would be, I don't know how that would work. It's just like an idea that I thought, but you know how when you go to college, if you have different careers, and there's people there, try to be nurses, and stuff like that. Anything in the medical field, why not? This is just a suggestion. I don't know how the school will process that idea that I talking about. Why not have a class like a requirement for people who want to get in the medical field? A class where your assignment will be, helping a fellow student who has a disability, who needs, help, like someone with muscular dystrophy, like in my case, to use a restroom or any task they need. Every student would be assigned. Like depending how many students need help, assign them, that'll be their assignment, assign them to help out, the fellow student with the disability, like I was saying. I mean, like, I feel like it'll be beneficial in my opinion, One, you'll be getting hands-on experience on how, getting a little bit of knowledge, how, you know, to treat a patient with muscular dystrophy, and stuff like that. Get a little bit of, you know, knowledge on how the disability affects their daily life. It can help you in the long run, I feel like, because maybe the hospital you work at, there's not a lot of people that are knowledgeable in muscular dystrophy or in any disability. And, since you know, if they ever created a class like that, you'll be like, have a little bit more knowledgeable. Maybe, you know, they'll put you somewhere, where you can see patient with muscular dystrophy, or you got a sense of what is muscular dystrophy or any disability, not just muscular dystrophy. And also help the student, continue their education, be successful, and not have second thoughts like be like, should I consider college or should I just not either consider going to college or not go at all. And I feel like that's why there's very little people, percentage of people with a disability that go to college. I did some research before I did this video, and they say like 19% of the students in college or the university or have a disability. Only 19%. Like I feel like that's a little bit, and it's probably this is one of the reasons why, because a lot of students like me need help, using the restroom, feeding themselves, or any other task like I mentioned, and the colleges seem to lack that resource. I mean, because I found it strange because I'm like, they you have an aid for when you have a disability. You have an aid all from elementary all the way to high school, and why does college have to be any different? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, why does things have to be different? I mean, yeah, I understand it have to be a little bit of a difference, but this is, I feel like, a big issue for students with disability. College and universities should, I don't know, like I was like the idea that I gave you, create a class like that and have somebody, help the student out. But on the other hand, there have to be a lot of, you know, guidance or rules, to make sure like the safety of the person with a disability, and the safety of you know, the other person who's helping the student, that's like another issue that probably will be in the way of the idea that I gave, trusting the other person that's going to be responsible and not abuse like the student with the disability. That's a big, concern would be as well. How do we know the student who's helping the students not abusing the student with a disability or being the other way around, even though they have a disability? Maybe it's the other way around, That could be, a deal breaker right there because it's like, how do we know the student's gonna be responsible and not like abuse the student in any way, physical, mentally, in any way like that? So I feel like that could be the reason they don't have, you know, someone assisting students. Because for that reason, the school, imagine if something happens, like, I understand that, like, the safety of the students, and imagine if something happens, like I was saying right now, you know, So I could understand that side of the why they don't have resources for that stuff that I just mentioned. And also like restrooms. That's another I feel like another issue on campuses and college and universities. I don't know if every college or university is the same, but when I went to my local community college, they had a restroom in the disabled student services office, and only people who had a disability and or were enrolled in the program were able to use that restroom. But once I got to the university, they don't have a restroom in that disabled student services office like they did in my local community college. So it's like all the restrooms like doesn't have like the handicap sign. It just has men and women restroom. None of them have like when you go to the stores or anywhere, and you go use the restroom. You know how there sometimes restaurants is men and women, and they have the handicap sign, or they just have that have the handicap sign on the restaurant. I mean, like, so that's a problem, like, because maybe the restaurant's not that accessible for someone with a disability, and it's like that's the only restroom there is, men or women, stuff like that. So I feel like they should add a little bit more rest in the area where they have the restroom. They should have men, women, and then handicap restroom as well, because like I was saying, maybe the restroom is not accessible for people with a disability. So I feel like that's another thing, another resource that I feel like schools should look into as well, like in my opinion. So yeah, I feel like if there were more resources for in college and university for students with disability, I feel more students with disability would go to college. I mean, then there's the other issue as well, but transportation. We all seen the famous yellow bus, that picks you up from home and takes you to school, and then picks you up from school, takes you home. They don't have transportation for anybody with a disability to go to college or to the university. You have to have your own transportation, have your own way to get there. You know what I mean? It's that can be another issue because there's people with disability that don't have anyone to drive them. Parents might not have time or whatever the reason is, or they don't have anybody, to take them and stuff like that. That can be another issue. But I feel like maybe creates a transportation that takes students from college to campus, only for people with disabilities. But I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, it's college and the university, mostly everyone has drives a car or owns a vehicle and stuff like that. I feel that's something that, I mean, schools should look at. What can they do to help with that? You know what I mean? Because I feel like the lack of resources that I'm talking about, I feel like has impact people's decisions with disabilities to not go to college or the university after high school. And I feel like if they added the resources that I'm talking about in my video, probably would help people with disability want to go to college and not be worried on what am I gonna do because I need help with things that I talked about. So that's why I thought I'd make this video, because I feel like a lot of people probably don't know, that they don't have that much resources for people with disabilities. maybe there's a lot of people that didn't know all this that I'm talking about. So that's why I thought I'd make this video, explain a little bit how accessibility in colleges and campus is a little difficult for people with disability. I mean, you have accessible classroom, accessible library, you have elevators and all that, which that's good. Imagine if they didn't have all that. But like they lack in certain areas that I just explained. So that's why I thought I'd make this video. That's the reason why I had to stop my education from the university. The lack of not having someone to help me use the restroom, that was the problem. So that's why I had to stop going to college. And I also thought that this video will be helpful, for people who are about to go to college or the university, to figure things out. Maybe they have a family member, friend who can help him for a certain amount of hours, when he's in school. I mean, so that's why I thought I'd make this video. Maybe a lot of people, you have a family member to help you, you know, use the restroom and stuff like that. I mean, my mom would stay a couple of times at school so she could help me out, but sometimes she had to run errands and stuff like that. We would struggle, like, you know, to schedule a time where she can come, or sometimes she would run an errand real quick, but take traffic or whatnot. So that's why I feel like that complicated things. So that's why, like I was saying, thought I'll make this video. Maybe you know, talk to your parents, family member, like if there's anywhere who can help you or schedule how you guys are gonna make it work. Because like I was saying, there's lack of resources in the areas that I just talked about. So I hope someday college and universities make changes, you know, and add these resources that I just talked about, or find a way to help students with disabilities a little bit more. So just hope things change in the future. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Until next time.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride.